Well, this is fucking terrifying. The FCC decision is out and they just let one corporation take control of 80% of your local TV news, and that corporation is already firing the journalists who report it. I'm Eliza Orlins, career public defender for 15 years in Manhattan, and you need to understand what just happened. So the president of the United States publicly pressured a regulatory agency to approve a corporate merger, and Brendan Carr did exactly as he was told. So here's what this means. Nexstar, which is already the biggest local TV station owner in America, is now absorbing Tegna, 64 more stations, which is going to give one company control of 265 stations, reaching 80% of US households. The FCC's own ownership cap says 39% is the max. But they just blew past it because Trump told them to.
Yes, it's true. I'm not a KTLA anymore. I will not be returning to the job I held every day for 11 years. I was blindsided, and it hurts. It cuts deep because I cared about what I did. I was getting ready to celebrate a milestone birthday, and instead I'm now processing what I'm going to do as a single mom to 2 kids.
That's Alina Abovian. She was a reporter at KTLA for 11 years. Nexstar fired her just before her 40th birthday, while she's a single mom of 2 kids, and they did it to cut costs for this exact merger. 5 veteran journalists at KTLA alone, gone, more at WGN. This is what media consolidation actually looks like. It's not abstract, it's real people losing real jobs in your local newsroom, and you're paying for it too. When one company has this much leverage over your cable and satellite providers, your bill goes up. That's how monopoly power works. So the next time this administration tells you they care about affordability, remember, they just handed one corporation a monopoly over your local news and made you foot the bill. But actually, the money is almost the least of it. When one company controls this many local newsrooms, they decide what stories get told and what gets buried. They decide which reporters get to keep their jobs and which ones get cut to pay for the deal. And look what's already happening. Just last weekend, Brendan Carr threatened to pull broadcast licenses from stations whose coverage of the war in Iran he doesn't like. He said broadcasters will lose their licenses if they don't fall in line. And Trump backed him up. So now ask yourself, what happens when the company that controls 80% of your local TV stations knows the guy who just approved their merger is also the guy who decides whether they keep their licenses? You think they're going to run stories that make this administration look bad? Local news is how most Americans get their information about their schools, their courts, and their elections. And we just handed all of that to one corporation, while the head of the FCC is out here telling broadcasters he'll destroy them if they report the news in ways he doesn't like. That is what a monopoly over information looks like, and the FCC just rubber stamped it. Make sure you're following for more.
Saddam Hussein was evil, but when he was our guy that we were using as a prop to fight Iran, he was our guy. We were paying for him. We were propping him up and keeping him in power, despite how cruel he was to his own people. We didn't care. He used our chemical weapons to bomb Iran in their war in the 1980s. We were fine with it. And then when we decided we were done with him because he wanted to then start to nationalize his own oil, then we were like, let's overthrow that guy. Mossadegh, the president of Iran, duly elected. The people loved him, but he said, I want to nationalize our oil. This is our oil. It should benefit us. We were like, no, BP owns that oil. Knocked him off, put in the Shah.
What was that? Oh, yeah. What was that guy's name?
Mossadegh, the guy in Iran.
Yeah.
And then you go to, we propped up the, completely authoritarian government in Egypt for 42 years because they were playing ball with us. As long as you do what we say, you can be a dictator. We actually don't care about whether you're a dictator and hurt your own people. Mobutu Sese Seko, in my father's country, he was the CIA's guy. 42 years he oppressed the people who had already been through so much with King Leopold. He knocks off Patrice Lumumba, who was their George Washington, who was the man, right? Wow. And the CIA says, not good enough. You're not going to do what we say. Go away. We're going to give you Mobutu. You will have it. We did it Salvador Allende. We give them Pinochet. In Chile, we destroyed Chile because they elected somebody who didn't obey us. Ugh. So the U.S. has a history of destroying countries by getting rid of their elected governments when they won't obey us and give us their resources. Trump operates that way. He says, the Panama Canal is ours. Give it to us or we're going to destroy you. Cuba is in the dark right now because we're going to pressure Cuba because we don't want them to be able to supply medical personnel into Venezuela until Venezuela obeys. We're going to knock off the new Iranian government to try to control their movement of oil, control Venezuela's movement of oil, control Greenland and their resources. Oof. This imperialism is causing the blowback that gets Americans killed. Yep. And Americans, meaning our troops, but also people overseas that are just in a base somewhere, a military base that get built. So we have to stop this empirical bullshit
Yeah.
We're getting people
Because
killed.
I love how well informed you are, especially on international matters. And we talked about that. We were saying this earlier, like, you know, as far as how much we know about international affairs, where's the best place for people to get like that full context to be able to understand? Because you hear one perspective and immediately it turns into a partisan conversation.
Yeah.
You know, you're either left, you're right on this situation, but yo, what's the truth?
Yeah.
Where do you get your truth from? How do you get the truth and understanding kind of the bigger play in what's happening in U.S. politics and international politics?
Well, it's becoming less left and right because, and weirdly enough, MAGA and progressives agree on Israel, agree on Palestine. We kind of agree. Like we have kind of gone across the Rubicon of disagreement on some things. We're starting to agree. Americans are waking up to the fact that we've been sold a bill of goods that we have to lay down our lives for a client country. They're a client state. Why do they get to control us? Why are they controlling the president? Like, I think we agree on that left and right. And so for me, I think the best thing is what you said earlier is don't just watch one news source and just people who watch Fox, just watch Fox.
Yep.
That's why they are completely inundated in disinformation. You have to bounce around. You know, I'll see what they say on the right. I'll read some of their stuff as well. But I also read the BBC, which I think is a good source of news and information. I love Al Jazeera English.
Al Jazeera?
I think Al Jazeera gives some of the best. Mark Lamont Hill is over there. They do some of the best analysis, the best information. Mehdi Hassan came from there.
Mehdi Hassan.
And I do love independent media. I love Zateo. I'm a subscriber. Love it. And I listen to a lot of independent media. You know, we watch Don Lemon.
Shout out to Roland Martin.
Shout out to Roland Martin.
I do the Don Lemon show. I was on it.
You just on it right there. Right?
Don Lemon show. I'm proud to say, you know, he's winning awards. He's doing well. I'm proud to be part of his first couple of episodes.
154. We all connected, baby. You already know. I'm talking 154. We bringing Africa around the whole globe. Ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like, ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like home.
Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order?
McDonald's, please. Could you put extra grease on Big Macs you sent to the West Wing? McDonald's, please. There's a cardiac arrest we've all prayed for since 2016. McDonald's, please. If you do special orders, I'll take one large orange casualty. McDonald's, please. We'll be loving it. Oh, McDonald's, please. McDonald's, please. 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun with extra grease. Extra grease!